Welcome everyone to Scheller Lunchtime Live, a live stream series hosted by the Georgia Tech Scheller College of Business. My name is Lindsay Kane, and I'm the Associate Director of Client Relationships for non-degree executive education programs. On select Fridays at 12 p.m. Eastern, you'll have the chance to hear from Scheller faculty, student, and alumni speakers as they discuss relevant topics for the tech-driven digital age. At Scheller, we're proud to offer undergraduate, MBA, and PhD programs, along with open enrollment and custom executive education programs. It's my pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Bacon, a Georgia Tech College of Engineering and Scheller MBA alumna. She is the Regional CIO of North America at Novelis, who builds and leads future-focused technology organizations through agile and digital transformation. She envisions and oversees execution of transformation strategies and gold standard practices that position IT as a true partner to the business and corporate growth goals and steers best-in-class application development functions. Elizabeth is an analytical leader with deep experience in cost control, process improvement, and system simplification. She has orchestrated agile transformation for 3 companies, 2 global and 1 national, to accelerate product development and technology initiatives while elevating stakeholder and customer satisfaction. Today, Elizabeth will discuss how to become a transformational leader and change agent, leading large teams to solve real-world problems. As always, feel free to ask questions in the comments section. Elizabeth will address your questions after the session directly via LinkedIn. Over to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Lindsay. I am so excited to be here today to talk to you about transformation leadership. Transformation is a very important topic for many companies. I would like to go over the agenda with you. I'm going to start with telling a story. Then I'm going to talk about how transformation gets messy. And the important point that I want to bring to this presentation is what some companies leave on the table in transformation initiatives that make big impact. So let's start with the story. The story I want to start with is the myth of Cassandra. For those of you who do not know who Cassandra is, she was a princess of Troy. And Apollo was in love with Cassandra, but she did not reciprocate. So what he did, he gave her the gift to foresee the future with a big vision, but he also gave her the curse that no one will ever believe her. And actually in the myth, it describes that Cassandra foresaw the destruction of Troy during the Trojan War, but of course nobody believed her. And we all know what happened to Troy. So why am I bringing up the story of Cassandra in a transformation leadership presentation? It is because transformation leaders have big visions. And if these visions don't become reality, then we become Cassandras. I hear all the time, I can see what's important to the company. I know how to do this, but I can't get my people to wrap their heads around it. I am sure that if you're going through any kind of transformation, it's either a collection of things or one big thing. And if you look here on the screen, customer experience, agile, digital products, data, finance transformation, each one of these initiatives is by itself a big initiative. It's by itself very complicated and a lot of heavy lifting. The challenge, if you have so many of these things and they're not coherent, what happens is that a confusing and very messy middle starts forming. And what I mean by this is that this becomes a transformation buffet. So if somebody likes more finance than agile or data, oh, I want to do finance transformation, I'm doing the right thing for the company. Somebody else would say, oh, I am focused on customer experience. So it's a transformation buffet. The key is to have coherence in several initiatives if we want to do all this heavy lifting at the same time. So what companies leave on the table are the small changes that make big impact. And the reason they leave it on the table is because they're small. I know what it takes to transform an organization. It takes a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of investment. Usually consultants come on board, they're running around doing things. It's always a heavy lifting. But there are small things that we can do along the journey of transformation that make a big impact and bring our teams with the same vision and the same direction that the company is going towards. The first thing is making clear, why are we doing this? If the why is very clear and everybody understands it, even the people who are removed from the senior leadership team 4 or 5 layers, then the message is very clear of why we're doing this. Second point I want to bring up is guiding principles. Making all these discrete collections of transformation coherent. I'm sure you're looking at this and saying, well, there's nothing new. We know this. And I'm with you. This is nothing new. But if we don't make it real, number 3, this only stays a vision. Number 3 is making it real, taking the vision and make it in the day-to-day. And it's going to require courage in disrupting the culture. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. So let's start with make it clear. Why are we doing this? Because if we don't make it clear, this is what happens. Transformation fatigue. Project Unicorn came yesterday. In 2 months, Project Eagle, it's landing. Another three months, Project B, Project Z, Project C. Everybody looks at it and says, okay, we know we have to do this because the senior leadership wants us to do this. But does anybody know why we're doing this? Why we're transforming? What is the connection between all these projects? If we don't, the result is transformation fatigue. And I think we also see this in our daily life. So how do we know if the why is a healthy why? Ask the questions. You can ask 5 people, you can ask 10 people. Ask the same question. What are you transforming into and why? Can you tell me why you're transforming in under 2 minutes? Why under 2 minutes? Because if the why is clear, people are able to articulate it very clearly and very briefly under 2 minutes. Now it gets harder. Tell me why you're transforming in under 2 minutes without using any corporate language. That gets harder. Then you can add to it, why are you transforming under 2 minutes without using any corporate language in a way that somebody at the front line will really understand it and most importantly, is motivated by the why. And then if I ask your peers, I would get the same answer. It is okay to talk, if we talk with HR uses the language of performance and talent acquisition. If I talk to finance, it's going to be numbers. It is okay if the language is different because the role is different. But if we are transforming with customer experience, the message better be the same. If not, we go back to this transformation buffet. Choose what you like to do. Here's a bad example. And I'm sure we all heard it so many times in town halls. We want to transform into because we want to drive digital transformation, provide business agility, and be innovators while partnering with our ecosystem to delight our customers everywhere. What does this mean? It's a bunch of buzzwords in a statement, communicated in a town hall. Well, somebody is sitting in a town hall and saying, this sounds cool, but you know what? The senior leadership understands it. They can do it. I have concrete things that I need to do every day. I have projects due, I have reports due, I have to take care of this and that and the other. And that's what's expected of me to do. So I'm going to do today what I did yesterday, and I'm going to do tomorrow what I'm doing today. This will never change anything or transform anything. Here's some clarity, and I put some examples from business model transformation. Companies who transformed on a business level. The from to narrative gives clarity, because what it does, it tells people, if I start from the front, we are exactly here. This is our baseline, and this is where we want to go to the end game, to the two. From selling vehicles to moving people and goods, this is very simple and very clear, and everybody will understand what it means. Now, if you have a smaller changes and smaller transformation, you can characterize the aspect of the change. For example, I want my team not to do manual reports and do automated reports. That's a true example. I don't want my team to do manual reports. I usually add because I want my talent to use their time to manage certain aspects of the role, or to give them more time to do better things, or whatever it is, the because. People will look at say, it's true, we are heavy on manual reports. So it's creating that based on where we are right now. From technical presentation to business capabilities presentation, because we want our business partners to understand what we are doing in technology. So this giving us a baseline. It's true, we're heavy in technical language, no matter who we speak with. From process to principle, it's very clear, streamlined, where people can understand it, and I usually add the because. Let's go to number 2, the guiding principles. Are your guiding principles world-class? This is so important that they are world-class and they're not anemic, because if they are anemic, they're not going to change anything. Principles are better than processes at guiding transformation actions. Why? Because processes are better used for predictable environments. If I know the outcome, I can design a process that achieves the output that I want. If I have predictability, processes are great. But in transformation, we don't have predictability. We have uncertainty. Things will come up that we haven't thought about because we're transforming. We're going from point A to Z. So we really don't want to pigeonhole transformation in processes. We want to give principles. And I'm gonna share why principles are important. Without guiding principles, it's chaos. People go right, people go left. And what happens to transformation in this situation? It slows it down. I have never heard any leader who's leading transformation saying, you know, we have a problem. Transformation is going very fast. It's always the opposite. It's taking so much time. It's taking so much heavy lifting. It's taking so much funding. Okay, I'm not underestimating all this. We have to do all this. But let's make it clear for the people so that everybody is going the same direction. What makes principles world-class? They have to be directly connected to a business outcome. What is important to the company? Customer experience. The principles have to be designed to support the outcome of customer experience. They have to be specific to your industry. If I don't know your industry and I read a principle, oh, I can tell it's a pharmaceutical company, or it's a retail company, or it's a manufacturing company. The third one is you do not want to be ambiguous and subject to interpretation. That's where the problems start. They have to be crystal clear. And the fourth one is my favorite because it helps people make the right decisions. When there is clarity, people who are removed from the senior leadership, 4 or 5 layers down, they know what to choose and how to make decisions in their daily jobs. Principles take courage. Leaders have to perform with an A+, because people do not change for a B. The leaders have to have this conviction of what they want to do, stand very firmly with the values of the organization, and it takes courage to create principles. It's deceptively easy, but it's not easy. If we don't have principles, every governance decision seems to be a new one. Every meeting we have, we talk, what's more important, quality or speed? What's more important, security or flexibility? Because there is no principles, in the absence of principles, people don't know how to make decisions. And I assure you, there will be 6, 7 meetings talking about the same thing without any output. Conflicts between departments. Personal agendas drive decisions, and it's much harder to resolve conflict. Now with my concrete examples, what I'm talking about here. For example, if we have ambiguous example like we thrive to be high quality and low cost, what does that mean? We focus on delighting our customers. Well, delighting our customers can mean something to a finance person and something different to a developer. If a finance person, you ask that person, what does it mean to delight our customers? Maybe we should give them better discounts. If you ask a developer, I'll give them more features. Very ambiguous, not clear, subject to interpretations. Clearer, more inspiring examples, quality over speed. If quality and speed are in tension, competing priorities, then everybody knows, no, the company is going in the direction of quality, so we will choose quality. Our architecture, do we do it security over flexibility? If security and flexibility are in tension, we have to choose one. I choose security because that's what the company wants to do. Couple of suggestions to test if the principles are really good principles or anemic. You can flip the logic, saying if any company wants to do the opposite, would that make sense? I have never heard a company that say we thrive to be high cost and low quality. But I can see other companies say, yes, speed is over quality because we want to be the first to market. That logic stands if you flip it. We focus on delighting our customers. I've never heard a company saying we focus on not delighting our customers. They'll never be in business. So test the logic of the principles. And another hint is if you have a meeting with your team and you give them a principle that you want them to be very clear on to make these decisions, if nobody debates it and nobody says anything and they're quiet, say, oh, this is cool, that means there's something wrong with the principle. Debate and feedback they are very healthy because that is the moment that you know that you've been heard and your principle passed the test of being clear. So they're asking clarifying questions. Now let's talk about number 3. To that point, if we have the why and we have the guiding principles, we only have words on paper. Then make it real, ties everything together, and brings the vision to reality. Day to day, what do we do? Let's look at what we do every day. Opportunities for change. Small change that makes a big impact. Look for small opening and vulnerability in the culture. And I want to talk more about how to disrupt the culture in the right way, because Gartner described culture is a set of actions and beliefs that we do every single day. Where's the opportunity to really make change is where we spend most of our time. We spend so much time on emails. We spend so much time in meetings. This is the time when we have to make an impact and penetrate, like look at this vulnerability point and make the change. And I'm going to give you an example. For example, if we want to make a change and if somebody wants to communicate a strategy, what's the norm? What's the usual? We go to town halls, we hear about it. After that, corporate communication sends emails to people, nobody reads. Then we assume we communicated the vision. Everybody understands it. Now they're going to do it. It doesn't work this way. It needs more attention. So that small changes that we can do in disrupting the culture. Disrupting the culture is getting out of the status quo. We've been doing this for 10 years. I hear it all the time. We've done this. This is how we do it. We've done this for a long time. Transformation and change is disrupting this pattern that went on for a long time to achieve the vision and the direction of the organization, not for the heck of it. We cannot disrupt the culture willy-nilly. It has to be very clear and very directional to where the company wants to go. Couple of points here is that day-to-day actionable. We can't talk to every person in the company what we're doing. It has to go viral. Low effort. You have to design it and implement it under 48 hours. It has to give you immediate gratification, small wins, while the big and heavy lifting is happening. Give the company these small wins so that they are excited about it and you keep that momentum. Keep it visible. The higher in the organization, the more it becomes visible. And emotional. It has to be induced by emotion because people do not change for intellectual and analytical reasons. They change for emotional reasons. They laugh about it. They remember the joke. They love it. There's joy. There's fear. There's shock. There has to be an emotional factor to it. And these are the examples. I'm gonna go through a couple of examples just for the interest of time here. My favorite is the one in green. We want to be more engaged. So a large airline CEO met with skip levels in a big meeting and said, I'm going to share my strategy and how we're going to change stuff. But he knew that they're not going to like it. They're going to walk out of that meeting complaining, I can't believe he told us this. It's so difficult, blah, 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 blah. So the norm, the status quo and the norm is that CEO will talk about it and say, I'm always open for your opinions. I'd love to hear your feedback. I have an open door policy. Come to my office to tell me what you think about it. Nobody does that, and it's not going to happen. To disrupt that culture and take advantage of that big meeting with visibility, with a small change, he said, and that's a true example, he said, I will not end this meeting before you ask me 3 hard questions to challenge my strategy. Everybody's shocked. And he said, do not tell me, oh, what a brilliant strategy. How did you come up with this? I don't want to hear this. That is a disruption of a culture that I was talking about. Break the status quo, do something different to get people engaged. Another one, we want to be agile. Put on your door, sign on the door, complicated does not equal worthy. One more that I like a lot is that if you're running a creative and innovative workshop, middle of the day, people coming from meetings, they're so tired and they want to hear about creativity. The status quo is presenter will start this. It's so important to be creative. I want you to put your creative hat on. I want you to think outside the box. Okay, people are multitasking, checking emails, and their email and their text. The flip side to it, to disrupt the status quo, to disrupt the culture, is that the presenter walks in and says, in 60 seconds, draw creative, and you are not allowed to write it. So what happens to people? They say, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember the last time I drew a picture. I was 5 years old." Then they start looking around. People are drawing. They start drawing. What does that do? It resets the mind, focuses the mind, lights up the mind, and getting people engaged. Final thoughts: pay attention to the small changes because they do drive transformation. Make it clear, make it coherent, make it real, make small changes immediate gratification, make it visible, and have the courage to disrupt the status quo. Thank you so much for listening. Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you so much. To our audience, as a reminder, Elizabeth will follow up on your questions through the comments on LinkedIn after the session wraps up. Our next Scheller Lunchtime Live is Friday, April 30th at 12 p.m. Eastern. The topic is Draw Down Georgia, the first state-centered effort to crowd solve for climate change, featuring Professor Beryl Tokte. Beryl will discuss how the state of Georgia is using innovation to build a better future. You can register for this event and learn more about future Scheller Lunchtime Live sessions by following the Georgia Tech Scheller College of Business on LinkedIn. A recording of this session and future sessions will be available on our LinkedIn and YouTube pages as well. Thank you all for joining us.